What up, Gripsters and random YouTubers? Evan here for Grips.com, continuing with Project Get Me Stackin. Today's question comes from Russell, and it reads, "Hey Evan, love the YouTube content, man. Always enjoy hearing you share your insight about the game we love. Just wanted your quick opinion on ideas of how I can meet other grinders to build a network. I play online and at casinos, but all my friends are only casual home game players. At casinos, I just keep to myself as I don't want to give off any info so I can't get profiled. And I am always concentrated and focused on winning, as you should be. Do you have any tips on how I can meet other players just to learn from and enjoy some poker camaraderie with? Cheers, Russell." So let me be honest saying, great question, Russell, and your timing is absolutely perfect. This year, 2017, is all about coming together with each other so that everything in life can get a whole lot better. I've played poker for a long time. I've played online poker and I've played live poker. And in the beginning, when I was first learning and I was at university, I was all on my own. And the biggest challenge for me was dealing with that loneliness. While everyone else was in class, working on projects together, I was working on my game and I was by myself. And dealing with this isolation, dealing with trying to figure out everything on my own, it wasn't easy. It felt really challenging. Because I lacked a support team, it just seemed like, sometimes it seemed overwhelming. But the truth is I still managed to push through it. And I remember the only thing I was jealous of people with real jobs having was a support team that they could go in and see every day, regular people that they interacted with on a daily basis. And as an online poker player in the beginning, I felt I didn't have that. So I can really relate to how frustrating it is to travel on your own, play on your own, and just really feel alone sometimes. Like it's you against the world. You got no support. I get that. But that's not how it's got to be. And I can say with 100% certainty that the best part about poker these days for me is the people that I get to share the experiences with. So, with that intention firmly in place, let's get into the presentation so that you too can learn how to build your poker network, aka your poker dream team, and really take your game to another level with the powers of feedback, connection, support, and group intention that's really just going to raise the quality of your life experience. So today's game plan, we're going to start by going over common obstacles to finding a study buddy. Next, we're going to look at where to find a study buddy. Third, we're going to look at how to connect with a study buddy because knowing where they are isn't enough to get the process rolling. And then fourth, we're going to look at keys to getting started immediately, which is also going to contain some tactics for actually making the relationship last and grow because you don't want to just start and then not have it go anywhere. Finally, we're going to finish with how you can connect with me if that's something you'd be interested in doing. So let's move on in. Obstacles to finding a study buddy. Yep, it's a real thing. And the thing to start with is recognizing that you can only get what you give. If you're not giving something to the world, it's going to be pretty hard for you to get that thing in return. So if you want to get something, if you want partnership in poker, if you want a study buddy in poker, you have to be ready and willing to be one of those people yourselves. So in his email, Russell mentioned that he doesn't want to share the information that he has, with his regular home game players because they're just casual players. And to that, I say I totally understand. What's the point of sharing information with people who aren't going to receive it and people who aren't going to take it seriously? But the truth is, it's really not helpful for us to make assumptions like this because you never know what might happen if you share the information with someone. You might light a spark in them that becomes a huge flame. The reason I started studying poker is actually a funny story. I was playing a home game on the 6th floor of residence. We lived on the 5th floor, but every weekend, sometimes we go to the 6th or the 4th. We were playing on 6th, and there was one guy that everyone was making fun of. And I was like, why are you guys making fun of him? And they're like, oh, because he's like reading poker books and he thinks he's going to get good or something by doing that. Like he's studying the game like you can actually learn something, and he's still losing. And I was just like, they got books on this stuff? And I remember going back to my room that night after the game and looking up online and finding pokertips.org, I think it was. And then I started reading and I started getting better. And then I started getting all the books and started getting better. So because people mentioned, oh, you can actually study this game, I was like, I'm in. And so you never know what might happen if you share the information with the people you play with. Someone might pique their interest and say, hey, I want to take this a bit more seriously. I remember I used to get really frustrated with people not wanting to share the Grips videos. I'd make them and my friends would say, you got to make content that's more shareable. And I'm like, dude, I'm making the best quality content I can. And they're like, yeah, it's really good, but it's kind of so good that I don't want to share it with other people because it's going to make their games better. And, they wanted to hoard the information for themselves. And I understand that, in the poker world, you think it's all about what you know that other people don't know that gives you the edge. But to me, it's extremely short-sighted to think that way. Because, what you're withholding from other people, you're actually withholding from yourself. You may win more now because your opponents don't know as much, but you limit your growth in the long run because the people you're studying with don't have the information that they could bounce off you to take it to another level, or maybe you just don't have anyone to study with at all because you're unwilling to share what you know or share information, resource sites that could help other people out and get them moving along their process. So the second reason that we find it hard to find a study buddy is that we learn the conceal, don't reveal strategy. When we're playing live poker, we want to block everything up so we give away no information so no one can read us, and we're going to be able to get through, make our moves, and have no one be able to tell what we got. I remember when I first started that I wanted people to underestimate me. I wanted to keep a low profile so that no one noticed me and I could just quietly go about my business and take my pots. And again, I think this is kind of an outdated strategy because while there's a little bit of an edge of being, a wolf in sheep's clothing, there's also an edge in being the confident player at the table. And actually, when you're playing smaller stakes, being the person who's super confident for good reason is actually a bigger edge than the person who keeps a low profile and people don't really think they know what they're doing. Because eventually the good players are going to clue in anyway. And the bad players aren't paying attention anyway, and they're more likely to make mistakes against the person they're afraid of than the person that they don't even notice. So while I can understand the thinking behind conceal, don't reveal, I think in the long run it's also a short-sighted strategy. But that being said, if you want to hide your skills at the table and keep a low profile, that's cool. You can still talk to the players on the breaks. People go for smoke breaks and stuff all the time. Go talk to them on the breaks and be like, hey, would you like to study with me? But the thing is, you're going to have to let people know you're serious if you actually want to find some study buddies. So you got to weigh the trade-offs there. The third reason that people find it hard to find a study buddy is that they don't project their true passion. They try to hide what they're doing. They try to hide what they're about. They're embarrassed that they play poker. They don't want people to know that they play poker. So they kind of try to tuck it into and hide it there. And it's like, you got to be proud of what you do and you got to show the world that you love what you do and make people aware that you're passionate about what you do. And then other people who have that same level of passion are going to come and join you. But if you just keep a low profile and you just play it off like you aren't that into the game, those people who are taking it seriously are going to think that you don't take it seriously and they're not going to be attracted to you. So if you want to attract people who are passionate about the game, project your passion out there so that they can see you and recognize you and approach you, or so that when you approach them, they will respect you. And the last reason that people find obstacles to find a study buddy, which is pretty similar, is that they don't want people to know that they're a hard worker. And if you want to meet hard workers, you need to show that you're a hard worker too. It's that simple. Otherwise, they won't take you seriously. They won't approach you. They'll think that you're a slacker, so they'll just brush you aside. So if you want to have great study buddies, become the guy that people would want to have as a study buddy, and you'll have potentials lining up, and you can pick and choose who you want to work with. And if you're a nice guy, you might just work with all of them. So I put some fun quotes in this presentation just so we can understand it a bit more. Many ideas grow better when transplanted into another's mind than the one in which they sprang up. And that's the real benefit of sharing the information, because then you get it back with a new perspective, and then you get to spin it back. And that's where the magic happens, passing the ideas back and forth. So where to find a study buddy? How bad do you really want a study buddy? Because the truth is, it's available. The party's always been going. All you needed to do was walk in the door and take your invitation. So there are a bunch of options for finding study buddies. The first one is start talking on the poker table. This is how I started. I was playing a lot of online poker. I saw the same names every day. So I started chatting with them just in the chat box. I'm like, oh, cool, someone's talking to me. And, we started talking back. I said, hey, do you want to move this conversation to Skype? And then, boom, I found some great study buddies. It's actually the people that I shared my house with in Vegas, second World Series I went down. Some Norwegian guys, awesome people. If you don't want to start talking at the poker table because you don't want the other players to know what you're up to, or you're playing with people who are multi-tabling and they aren't responding, take the conversation to social media. The beauty of the time that we live in is that so many people are accessible. Almost everyone has a Twitter, a Facebook, and Instagram. Some they use for connecting, with work-related stuff, and that's where you should approach them, and other ones they use for friendship. I will say in general, it's better to connect with people at, their workplace than it is to connect at their home, which, is what I consider Facebook. Because if someone just wants to talk with their friends and then you got all these random people hitting them up, it's not very nice. Think if you were at home and you just got people knocking on your door all the time, you're probably not going to give them the time of day. But if they approach you, in your workplace where you're in your networking, your business mode, you're going to be more receptive. So the same thing, how and where you approach people is very important. Okay. Also, you can post your own thing on Facebook or Twitter. Hey, I'm looking for a study buddy. Anybody looking to take their game more seriously? You never know what might happen. Now, again, this is the part where you have to be proud of what you do and what you're passionate about and who you are as a person. Because too many people are afraid. They are fearful of others judging them, so they don't post. What is my grandma going to think if she sees that I'm playing poker? Oh my God. That's fear. That's just false evidence appearing real. And it's something that you have to get over. If you want to attract what you really desire into your life, you got to be authentic with the world if you want the world to be authentic and supportive for you. The next thing you can do beyond starting the conversation on social media is, join a private study group. We just started a new study group for the Gripsters, and it's fantastic. It's happening on Discord, and it is available for all the Twitch subscribers. Now, something about study groups, because we used to have a free one on Skype, and what I've realized is that, the more you're willing to invest, the higher the quality of study buddies will be, because you'll find those people had to invest too. When there's no barrier to entry, when anyone can just join the group, kind of like what happens on forums, you'll get a lot of clutter, you'll get a lot of spam, because people aren't taking it seriously because they didn't have to invest any money to get involved. And that's why the new Grips study group is for the Twitch subscribers who are paying $5 a month, and therefore they get access to other like-minded individuals who are also serious about their game, so serious that they're willing to invest $5 a month on their game. That's their level of commitment. Like I said, I've had free groups in the past, but they're too messy. And that's why, you don't just want to invite anyone to be your study buddy. You want to make sure someone is actually committed and invested to the process and is going to take things as seriously as you are, because you're going to be committing a lot of hard work and energy into these people who you're working with, and you would expect them to do the same for you. Yeah. All right. So next is, join a training site or a community forum. Lots of training sites have forums. In fact, pretty much all the training sites have forums, and lots of communities have forums as well. Pocket Fives is just an example. If you're a tournament player, Pocket Fives is a great place to meet other tournament players because it tracks all the results. Gamers spend a lot of time on Liquid Poker. So if you're a gamer who's getting into poker, maybe Liquid Poker is your forum. You want to find a forum where people have common interests in addition to just the poker. What kind of poker? Are they into video games? Are they into health and wellness like they are at Grips? Maybe that's the community you want to be a part And that way you're going to find study buddies that you are aligned with. You won't just have the common interest of poker, but you'll also have ones who share other common interests, so you can get deeper conversations and feel a better connection. And remember, you're going to get what you pay for. The more you pay for a membership, the more dedicated the other members are going to be, because they had to pay the same amount. So if you want to find high quality study buddies through a training site, you're probably going to have to invest a good amount of money up front to, get past that barrier and get to where the more serious players are. Again, the higher the barrier to entry, the more serious the participants will be. And once you've gone through this, you found the people you want to approach on social media, you found the people you want to approach on the table, you found the people you want to approach in a study group or a forum, you need to go out there. You got to put yourself out there and send the private messages. You got to reach out to these people, give them a poke, and see what happens. You can't start. They're not going to come to you if they don't know you're there. So it's your job, once you've identified who you want to be a study buddy with, to take the next step and reach out to them and get your feedback. You might get a new partner, or you might just get a lesson. And remember, if everyone is moving forward together, then the success takes care of itself. Now, when you're trying to connect with a study buddy, you have to recognize that you need to bring value to the table. If you're not bringing value to the table, then it's going to be hard for the other person to find a reason to connect with you. You want to be honest and you want to be upfront. And I want to emphasize that there are a lot of different ways that you can bring value to the table. Like in the Big Brother program, someone's a mentor for, a mentee, but the value is that they get to play the role of teacher, they get to play the role of parent, they get to play the role of father. For some people, that's all they need. They don't need anything beyond that. So before you approach the people that you want to connect with, I want you to ask yourself, what can you offer? Maybe you offer poker skill, you're on a similar level. Maybe you offer another skill. Like for me, the reason I was able to work with guys like Tony Gregg, Greg Merson, and Griffin Benger is because I offered a lot of mental game strategy and health and wellness strategy to the table that would enhance their performance. So, they brought the poker strategy, I bought the life strategy, and boom, we got a match made in heaven. Maybe you just bring passion for the game. Maybe you're very energetic and, really supportive. You're a super fan. That's another thing that I bring to the table with students and stuff. I really cheer them on. I really make sure that they're playing at their best and they're in their A game and staying motivated and feeling supported, like people really believe in them. That's worth a lot. Maybe you can offer friendship. For a lot of online poker players, it's a lonely world out there and they want friendship. They lack friendship and connection. So if you can offer genuine friendship, that can be a big thing. And if you don't feel there's anything else that you can offer, well, you can always pay someone for their time and offer money. And that's definitely bringing something to the table. The next thing you need to ask yourself is, okay, I can offer this, but does the person want or need what I have to offer? If someone already has like 50 friends, they don't need another friend. If someone has all the money in the world, they're not going to need more money, but they're probably going to have some lack. They're probably going to have something that they're missing. And if you can meet that need, they're going to welcome you aboard. If you can't meet that need, it's okay. Seek another study buddy, but recognize there are a lot of things that you can offer of benefit. And if you have something that they want or need, they're probably going to say, yes, come on in. If, however, you can't offer them anything of benefit, don't be surprised if they say no. That's just part of the game. Now, a very important thing to do is ask yourself this question. You've gone through the first two. Say, if the roles were reversed, would I be interested? If I was in the other person's shoes, would I want to be a study buddy with this person? Or is there something that I'm putting out there that is very unattractive to the other person? And that's what freezes a lot of people up, is that they're only thinking about, getting what they want. What do I want to get out of this interaction? What do I want to get out of this partnership with this guy? As opposed to what can I offer this person as a study buddy? And, they wonder why they get rejected. But when you think about, okay, what can I offer to this other person in the form of a study buddy partnership, then you're going to recognize why they would want to have you as a study buddy, and boom, you're going to get the process rolling. This is why the whole, please stake me, coach me, and I'll give you 20% of my profits. It just doesn't work, because all the investment is on the coach. The coach has to put in the time, the backer has to put up the money, And the stakey, the person who's approaching, has a pure free roll. Sure, they're going to give away a piece if they win, but that's if they win. They have nothing invested, and therefore it's easy for them to quit. They have no skin in the game. And that's why, you really got to be ready to invest in the relationship if you're going to try to get a relationship going. Great players didn't get where they are by making bad decisions, and they can sense someone's commitment level. So, if they see you're not committed, they're probably going to say no, or they're probably just going to ignore you. They know that it's easy to talk. It's easy to write an email or write a message, but it's hard to take action and follow through. So that's where having graphs, showing how much you've already played, how much you've already studied, putting together a resume is very powerful so that they can sense when someone is actually committed, determine your commitment level, and whether or not you would be a good fit for them. The best relationships are ones that benefit both sides. And in order to reach that point, you have to think about how your friendship is going to benefit the other person you are seeking to connect with. And remember, first impression is major, really major. Your first impression is the predictor of how every future interaction is going to go. I get a lot of emails from people seeking coaching, saying they can't afford a session. Can they just have a freebie maybe? And I'll tell you, as much as I want to help everyone, there are certain things that get me turned on. That's when people are dedicated, and there are things that really turn me off. And those are the things that turn off other players too. So I'm just going to share two things that kind of turn me off when people kind of cold call and approach me, so that you can avoid doing these with people you want to potentially partner with and work with. The first thing is people who say too little. They don't seem motivated. They just kind of send a message and hope. And if I can tell someone's not motivated, why should I be motivated about potentially working with them or potentially being a study buddy? The other one, which is a mistake I used to make too, is the people who say too much. They write the whole novel, this is my whole life story, and I've done this and this and that and all this, and can we be buddies? And what I see when I see those messages, while this person really wants to connect, they're throwing too much out too early. And I get nervous that this person might be really needy. They might need too much attention. I don't have enough attention to give. So I see it as, okay, they sent me this huge message before I even said, hey, let's talk. And I see it as being inconsiderate of my time. And I recognize when I used to do that, I wouldn't get responses to my emails. I'm like, oh, well, I wasn't realizing how busy that person was and that they don't have time to read a 7-page novel. So of course he didn't get back to me. The other one is people who are implying that they need my help as if they can't do it on their own. And this is my most important lesson I'm ever going to share with you guys. And I'm probably going to share it in every future video from here on in because it's so important, okay? Remember, you are powerful. Okay, you are all powerful. So when you set your mind to something and actually take action on it, you can achieve so much. The problem comes when you just think about it, but don't take action. And if someone projects that they're a thinker and not an action taker, there's no benefit to a partnership because someone who's a hard worker wants to work with people who are hard workers, who are taking action. So the key is spending less time talking and thinking and more time taking action. And as you're taking action, other people will recognize and be like, I want to work with you. I want you on my team. I want you to be my study buddy. So my advice when reaching out to potential study buddies is, number one, be clear on what you are seeking out of the relationship. Be completely upfront. I'm looking for a poker buddy and a friend. I'm looking for a mentor and a friend. I'm just looking for a mentor and some staking, but I'm willing to invest. Be very clear what you're seeking. Next, number two, be very clear on why you are seeking it. What is your motivation for wanting this? Someone just says, oh, I want to make money playing poker, as opposed to someone says, I totally love this game so much. I'm way more likely to work with the second guy because he's got a better motivation that's more lasting. I can tell that it comes from the heart as opposed to just the head. Number three, be clear on why you seek it from them specifically. You don't want to just be blanketed offering the same thing to everyone because they're going to be like, oh, he actually doesn't care about me. He just cares about getting the thing. And if you want to get in a relationship with someone, you have to actually care about the other person, not just what you can get from them. Number four, be clear on what you can offer in return because relationships are all about relating and partnership. Personalized messages will go a lot farther than copy pasting the same message to 20 people. They can read through that pretty easily. I've heard so many stories of people like, I messaged 20 people on Pocket Fives and one guy got back to me, but that one guy made all the difference. So if you don't have time to do personalized messages for everyone, you can blanket message, but don't be surprised if you don't get a lot of responses. And when you do get a response, even if it wasn't your top pick, you follow through on that relationship because that person took the time to respond to you. And therefore, you can do them the same courtesy. But yeah, don't put too much effort in prior to knowing that relationship will even begin. You want to kind of open the door before you put everything on the table, For example, you wouldn't tell a woman you want to marry her on the first date, right? What would happen if you do that? She's going running for the hills. The same thing will happen if you're too overbearing when you first reach out to someone to connect with them as a study buddy. Okay, let it unfold naturally, little by little. Start the interaction and then share more as it progresses. Don't be in a rush. Take it slow. Be patient. Be grounded. Be secure. The best teamwork comes from men who are working independently towards one goal in unison. You aren't going to do everything with your study buddy. You aren't going to do everything with your teammates, but provided you have your teammates to check in with at the right times and work together at the right times, you're going to get way more out of your personal time. And that's why it's important that you're doing your homework. Because if you're not doing your homework when everyone else is, eventually you're going to get booted from the team. You got to recognize that even though you find study buddies in a network, it's still on you to do a lot of the work on your own. And the more work you're doing on your own, the more progress you're making on your own, the more you're going to get out of every interaction you do with your teammates. Yes. Yes. All right. How to start the process right now is identify who you'd like on your team and why. The motivator, the why is so important. Okay. Don't just seek a study buddy. Seek a friend. If you're lonely like I was, you probably don't just want someone to work on your poker game with. You probably want someone who you can talk about your problems with, about your challenges with, and who you can help with theirs. Okay? Trust me, you will enjoy the process so much more if you have common interests. And that's why it's important to be honest about who you are and what you're interested in and not try to hide that from other people. If you're open with that and finding other people who are similar, you will look forward to every interaction so much more. All right, next, try multiple ways of connecting. As we mentioned before, not everyone checks their Pocket Fives messages. Not everyone sees all their Facebook messages. Try to post where a person usually conducts their business, where you see they're active. If someone posts a lot on Twitter, that's probably where to reach them. If they post a lot on Instagram, reach out to them on Instagram. If they post a lot on YouTube, maybe don't reach out to them on YouTube because there's too many videos getting too many comments and it's hard to filter through all of them. But any of those platforms where there's instant messages coming to the top of the feed, that's where you should reach out to them. Email is another great way to do it. But please stay away from the places where people just want to relax and talk to their friends, i.e. Facebook. You don't want to bang down someone's door at their home as your first impression because they're going to remember you as the dude who banged down their door at home. Now, try to connect with people, but don't pester. You don't want to come off as too needy because you want to also recognize that you can do a lot of this on your own. You just appreciate having some help along the way. It's a balance, right? If someone isn't interested, you have to respect their boundaries. It's part of the game is respecting others. You got to recognize that people have limited time and energy, especially if they're already working hard. If you're someone who has a lot of free time, it doesn't mean that everyone else has a lot of free time. If you're someone who works 80 hours a week, it doesn't mean everyone else works 80 hours a week. And it can be hard to think about that, but we have to recognize that not everyone is working with the same time and energy constraints that we are. Especially if they're already working on a big project or have a lot of people working with them. That's why there has to be value in the relationship for both parties. For your poker study partnerships, make it worth it for them. And of course they're going to want to work with you. But if they see it as one-sided, oh, this guy just wants, and he's got nothing to offer me, why would they sign up with you? These are the things to think about. Now, be okay with rejection. Don't get down and out if someone didn't answer your message. Just keep going through the process. Try to learn from rejections. Some examples of why it didn't work are, you approached the wrong person. Maybe they're just too busy. Maybe you came with the wrong offering. You wanted to you wanted to offer them some life coaching in exchange for poker coaching, but they're already super healthy. They don't need that. Maybe you have the wrong timing. Maybe that person's just going through a lot in their life. Maybe they had a death in the family. Maybe they just broke up with their girlfriend or something. Maybe they're feeling really overwhelmed because they're in a huge downswing and the timing isn't right. And maybe, fourth, maybe you have the wrong intentions. Maybe they can sense, oh, this person's trying to take, but he doesn't want to give. Or he thinks that poker is a get-rich-quick scheme. I can't actually teach him that because that's not what it is. Wrong intention. So ask yourself every time you get rejected or ignored, why did that happen? And so you can learn from it. So the next time you reach out, you'll make a better decision with who you reach out to, how you reach out to them, and what your intention is behind it. Trust me, the more no's that you get, the more perfect the relationship will be when you get the yes. Because it means you fixed all the things that were keeping you from getting the study buddy that you wanted, or perhaps the study buddy you needed. I remember that my problem was I would always try to seek people who were way above me in the skill level, but I didn't have much to offer them at first. And then I'd wonder why I couldn't get a study buddy. And yet when other people below me wanted to reach out to me, I'd be like, nah, like I'm too good for that. This is how I used to be back in the past. And I recognized that because I wasn't willing to work with people who were, less experienced than me, why could I expect people who were more experienced than me to work with me? And again, it's an example of you get what you give. Suddenly, when I started offering help to people who, were a little behind, a little earlier in their development, those who were farther along in their development were eager to help me because I was giving something, so I got it in return. That is how the world works. And don't be too caught up, I need to get like 50 different study buddies, because remember, you only need one study buddy to break through. And once you have that one study buddy, then other ones are going to start popping up, and eventually you'll get your network. But you don't need 4 study buddies right away. If you get one, you're good. Okay? 1 becomes 2, 2 becomes 3, and 3 becomes like 1,000. So if you got to 2, you're like halfway there to 1,000. I know mathematically that doesn't make sense, but if you read the Tao Te Ching, you'll see that there's something to it. It's all about the exponential growth. Okay, so talent wins games, but teamwork and intelligence win championships. Here's the homie Charlie Carroll, Ben Heath. You got it done. They met in the original Gripst study group on Skype, and now they're just taking over the poker world. So if you want to connect with me, I've got a Facebook page, Gripst. Gripst Poker on Twitter is probably the easiest way to contact me directly because those messages stay at the top of my feed. Obviously, I'm here on YouTube. You're watching this video right now. And I stream on Twitch pretty much every Sunday. I also got a Google Plus page. If you want to connect me, I don't check that as often. The best way to reach me direct is definitely at Gripst Poker on Twitter. And yeah, that's going to wrap up this presentation. And I just want to share that, my story was that, I went a long time in poker having only one study buddy. I had a roommate who was a pretty solid poker player, and we developed a lot together. The difference between when I lived with him and shared the apartment versus when we would only talk on Skype and we were living in different cities was huge. It was insane, the difference. So the power of actually connecting with people and getting to check in with them on a regular basis goes so far, because it's about that regular interaction. It's about that regular feedback that really spurs the growth process. And I told you guys, for finding other people, I started out, I was feeling really lonely. I'm on the computer all day, and I'm like, how can I find some friends? So I just started messaging people. I started messaging people on the poker tables, got them on Skype and started talking there. This was back pre-social media, but if it was social media times, I'd make a post on Facebook and see who responds. And maybe the guy that I was hoping to get didn't respond, but someone else did. And why not just start talking to that person, see if there's common interests, see if there's common goals. Because the best people to work with are the ones who are at the same level as you, going through the same things as you are, because you're going to understand the challenges the same. Next level is to have one person above who's going to teach you new things and one person below who you can teach things to. But if you can start by finding someone on the same level as you, it's absolutely perfect place to be. So don't push away those who offer themselves to you if you can feel that there is an alignment there. And So I lived with that guy for a while, and we grew a lot together. And then one year, I was thinking of moving in with my girlfriend, and I kicked him out from the apartment. And so I was there by myself again. And my game dropped, and my mood dropped, because without that support, I just didn't have the same motivation. I didn't have that extra urge to get up and grind. And, that was really hard. That was really hard feeling alone. I got feeling depressed because, I was lacking someone to bounce ideas off of. But more importantly, I was lacking friendship. And it's hard in this world when we don't have friends. So, I took things to the next level the year after, because when I saw the opportunity, I'm like, okay, I got to capitalize on that. 2011, I met Greg Merson. He was looking for a place to play online poker, and I said, dude, come stay with me. Come stay with me in Canada. I got an extra room, and it's going to be great. And that's when things got brought to the next level. That's when things really got brought to the next level, because I had someone who was passionate about the game just like I was. He was on a higher level in terms of skill, so he could offer me that. And he was receptive to what I had to offer in the realms of like nutrition and fitness and mindset. So I had that to offer him. So I was learning and teaching, which is the best kind of relationship where we're getting a lot of back and forth. And, from there, he introduced me to everyone else. And since I showed them that I was passionate about the game, they were open to helping me and working with me. Whereas if I had kind of shied away and played down my abilities, they'd be like, all right, this guy's not serious, like, screw him. I had to reach out and make the effort. Greg introduced me to guys like Lucky Chewy and Dan Smith, but I had to say, hey, Dan, can I come to your birthday party? Bring him a bottle of Patron. Hey, Chewy, can I come by your place tonight and just talk life a little bit? Oh, of course. I had to put myself out there and be willing to take rejection to actually get connection. If you aren't willing to face rejection, you're probably not going to get connection. But if you're willing to go out there and face it, and it's with the right intention, you're probably going to get the connection, not have to deal with the rejection. But the intention is key. Now, I just want to talk a little bit about the benefits of getting together with each other and deepening the connection. Because, talking via instant message is certainly better than not talking at all. It gives us that feeling of connection. But talking via voice, Skype or a phone call, gives us a much deeper connection because we can really feel the emotions involved. That's why listening to something is so much better than reading it. And of course, getting to connect in real life is the best because it gives us that physical element as well. And it gives us the whole picture of connection, intellectual, emotional, and physical. So talking online gives us the intellectual connection, mind to mind. Talking via voice gives us the emotional connection, heart to heart. And talking in person, it gives us the physical connection, body to body. And even if we're just talking about, a high five or giving some daps or a pat on the back, these really go a long way, especially for people who aren't getting a lot of that otherwise in their lives. In fact, in the age we live in, where we spend so much time at the computer, on our own, isolated at home, the thing that we're missing most is physical touch. So if you can find someone you can give high fives with, slap hands with, that's a really good thing to add into the picture. You'll be blown away by how much it changes the game. You'll be like, okay, I wanted a poker study buddy, but I also really just wanted a friend. It took me a long time to realize why I felt having a team and a support network was so important. And it's that human beings they desire the same thing. They desire to feel a connection on all levels, if they are to feel fulfilled. And when we feel fulfilled, we feel much more motivated to do all the things that we need to do to get the job done. And I think that's one of the reasons why, sometimes people who are in the higher ups can have a hard time because they're so high up, they feel like people can't relate to them, they can't connect with people, and so they feel alone and they feel lonely and they feel depressed. So if you feel depressed, either because you're too high at the top or you're too far at the bottom, that's normal if you're on your own. And that's why it's really important to just reach out and try to connect with people and build those relationships that come from the right intention. It'll totally change your life. And that's why I strongly encourage you to go after it and make the effort to find some friends who share your passion with you, to build your poker network and support system so that you can enjoy your experience to the fullest. right? Remember, 2017 is the year when we come together and life gets a whole lot better. Okay, that's what it's all about. That's what we're trying to do. That's why it's team grips. It's not I grips. Okay. Feels good to share this with you guys. I used to wonder why I enjoyed making videos so much. I'm like, because I'm sharing and connecting. And through the comments I'm going to get in the feedback, I'm knowing that that connection is really happening. Okay, so if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up or two. And if you have anything you'd like to share, you know, your experience, your personal experience, what worked for you helping to find study buddies, or what you got as a result of getting some study buddies, don't be shy. Post it in the comment section of this video and, you know, be open and honest. You might even find a study buddy in there. You might read through and be like, oh my God, this guy is going through the exact same thing as me and he's got the same interests. Let's link up and boom, you got your dream team. You got your dream team. It's that simple. You just got to be open and honest and willing to put yourself out there. Okay. If you like this video and you'd like to see more videos like it, you can check out the playlist on my channel, Project Get Me Stackin. And if you want to get more videos, you know, you just want them updated every single time they go live, click that red button, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and you would be notified every time a new video comes out that's going to help you level up your poker game and level up your life. Thank you so much for investing your time and energy in me. I know this was a really long video, so I appreciate you making it all the way till the end. This has been Evan for Grips.com teaching you how to build your dream team. Now you know what to do. Take what you learned, go out there, and get stacking.